right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Saturday. Thank y'all for joining us today. Man, got a couple things that I want to talk about. Obviously, we got the ACC Championship game that's going to start in about 10 minutes. It'll probably actually start at like 4:05. Wanted to try to get this out a little bit earlier, but, we had some things that slowed us down. But we appreciate y'all once again for joining us today. And number one, man, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And let me also tell y'all this, man. It's been some updates on Legend Bey. Right. And let me also tell y'all this, man, that my nephew Bray and Buford, they did win last night in the semifinals, so they're going on to the state championship. That's going to be like on next Wednesday or whatever, but super proud of those guys. But with Legend Bey, so many different things have been coming out, right? And we've heard from some of the people that are closer to Tennessee, some of our own insiders, and they're sharing their thoughts and letting us know what's real and what's not. I think most of what's going on is speculation, but we'll dive into that. And if we have enough time, we're also going to talk some about, obviously, like the bowl game, some of like the implications coming up today, and coaching changes, man, because it is about that time. So let's start off. Number one, I want to jump in and talk about what some of the Buckeye people are saying, some of their insiders are saying. There's a clip that I'm going to play for y'all that I think is, I think it'll kind of like shed some light on what they're saying, and then I'll give my thoughts on it.
We were told that Legend Bey's mother actually went to Knoxville the weekend before signing day to meet with the Tennessee coaches,
by herself,
pick up the paperwork by herself, to pick up the paperwork that Legend, whether he or mom signed on signing day, that remains up in the air. I have one source that says the signature that Legend Bey to Tennessee was forged, and that Legend still does not want to go to Knoxville. We've seen the famous tweet hit the social media airwaves that his family has basically locked him out of his account. And as of Friday morning, the last day of this signing window, we're still hearing this is a family kind of in disagreement about where this prolific four-star athlete is going to end up playing.
All right, so basically what's been going on, y'all, or what people are saying, what the rumors are, and this is most of this coming from like Buckeye people, again, like their insiders and from their fans and all of that. They're saying that Legend Bey had his signature forged, maybe, by his family. They're saying that his mom came up to Knoxville and she got some money, kind of like money off of the NIL contract, almost like a loan, right? Like a loan from the NIL money, because the NIL money won't hit, I don't think, until 2026. So that's coming up. But they're saying that she took some of that money, and that's the reason that Legend Bey signed flipped from the Buckeyes to Tennessee. Now there's a couple of things with that. Number one, kids get money off of their future contracts in college football all the time. That happens all the time. Like, kids will take the money, and most of the time, like, they haven't even signed yet. They'll just say, hey, I'm going to give my pledge to this school. They'll take the money, they end up spending the money, and then, they have to either pay it back or they have to stick with the school. And if they can't pay it back, then the new school that they're going to would typically pay that. That happens like a lot. That is a very, very common thing. So like, they're making it seem like, oh my gosh, I don't know if any of that's even true, but the way that they're framing it, like, oh, Tennessee could only be getting Legend Bey if they're doing some cricket stuff. Like that's the only way that he would want to go to that school. Now, since he signed, there has been like that post, right? And actually, I'm not going to be able to pull it back up, but there was a post that he had on social media saying that, well, I've been locked out of my socials and my family's in there and they're the ones that picked Tennessee for me. Okay. What our insiders at Tennessee, who I've never seen them lie, like they have no reason to make stuff up, what they've said, and they've been consistent in saying this, is that the coaching staff talked to Legend Bey, and Legend Bey is the one who reached out to the staff about wanting to flip back to Tennessee, and they were on the phone with him while he signed. All right, so that's all factual. And he's even talked to the staff since then. He's talked to them recently. So all of the things that we're hearing about, he didn't sign this stuff and his mom and whoop-de-whoop, that's a really bad look. I don't know how true any of that stuff is, but if any of it is fabricated, if that's my mom that these people are talking about, do you think I wouldn't want to go there at all? Like, y'all crazy as hell if you think that you're going to talk bad about my mom and my family and make them look horrible, make the whole family look bad, create all this drama, and think that I'm gonna come play for y'all. I mean, they some crybabies, man. And I can't stand Ohio State. I hope that they lose tonight. I hope that they lose every other game that they play because it's just sickening how much they've made up. Like I said, there may be like a little sprinkle of truth in some of it, but for the most part, it's totally fabricated. Now, as far as what Tennessee's going to do about Legend Bay moving forward, I don't know, but common sense tells you it's messy, right? How much of that really is from Legend Bay and from his family and from his team, and how much of that is just from some folks making shit up. That's what I'd be trying to get figured out. But yeah, it's not. We would love to have Legend Bay, and I'm just talking for myself. I know that the staff, obviously, they would love to have him too. He's a very good football player, but it's not like a end-all, be-all, make or break for this class or for this team. You know, Tennessee wasn't even tripping when Legend Bay flipped to the Buckeyes that first time. You didn't see a whole lot of our fans, oh, you know, whoop, they've been making up stuff. We don't do that because we just move on, you know? So I'm just saying it's a sticky situation. I wouldn't want to keep on riding that out. But I don't want to paint a bad picture of Legend or of his family either because I don't know what's what. But I just wanted to kind of share some of my thoughts and some of the facts. Obviously, you know, some of the rumors and then what some of the facts are and then what my thoughts are with the whole situation. It is crazy. But let me try to tap into the chat real quick. Let me see. Do we have any members? So we will be going to the members and to the super chats first because we're a little bit crunched for time. I still have plenty of stuff that I want to talk about. All right, so I don't see anything from the members at this point. I'll try to come back and get to y'all here in just a second. Now, let me pull this up real quick because this is something that we talked about the last time that we spoke, which was on, I think, Thursday, that these are two of the bowls that Tennessee might go to, but now I'm hearing that Music City, that's another possibility. It sounds like that's maybe more likely. Music City versus a Big Ten team. I don't want to play any Big Ten teams. They're all boring. You know, they're all boring to, like, play. But there's some more things that we'll talk about with that. We should know tomorrow where Tennessee is going to ultimately end up landing at. But also know that the earliest that our bowl would be is on December the 27th, and the latest feels like it's on December the 31st. That's just with what's come out here recently. That's all subject to change based off of what happens later on today, right? All right, so let me go ahead and just move forward real quick. Let's start to talk about these coaching changes because we really are we're real tight on time. So these are the like contract expiration dates for the coaches on Tennessee staff. So everyone wants to know about Tim Banks. His contract is set. It's not going to end until 2028. All right. Same thing for the offensive line coach. Some people have said, well, maybe he should go. And then you can see what's going on for 2027. You got Coach Chop, Coach Nez, and Alec Ablin. You can also see what they coach next to each coach's name. Now, to the right side, up top that says Joey Hall. That should say Joey Halsley, but he's the offensive coordinator and he's the quarterback's coach. People have had their thoughts about him. Is he going to go to Florida? Well, Florida, I think, just hired an offensive coordinator, so he's not going there. But would he have some other options? Possibly. Okay. You see Rodney Garner, Coach Inge, Kelsey Pope, Sims, and then Kurt Schmidt. I'm gonna start off at the bottom with Kurt Schmidt. All those guys on the right side, their contracts will be ending coming up in about like 2 months, right? So at the end of next month, their contracts are done. I'm not really an advocate for people getting fired, but I would say that's the first place that an upgrade has to happen. If you look at what the defense did, obviously, I don't think even just like with the defense, but I think there's some things with the offense that I didn't like either. That's more scheme stuff, in my opinion. But with the defense, the way that they gave up so many points versus Vanderbilt at home in the final game of our regular season, somebody is going to have to go. You know, it might be multiple somebodies, but I would say that's the first person. You got to have a real solid conversation right there. And the reason that I'm starting off on this right side is because there's no buyout. If you don't give these guys a new contract, any of those guys, then it's a lot easier. Okay. So I don't see anybody else on that right side that I'm looking at, and I'm saying, okay, like this guy needs to go. I obviously want to hold on to Coach Gardner. I've told y'all I really like Coach Inge. All right. And I'm also kind of going off of, well, you know, who do some of the players like? The players love Coach Inge and they love Coach Garner. And I mean, really, I would say that I wouldn't be mad if any of those other coaches left. And all that's just me. Wouldn't be super mad. Wouldn't be happy about it, but it makes no difference to me. It's almost of no consequence. So moving back over to the left side, Coach Banks, everybody wants him gone, right? Or there's a lot of people who just want him fired. The issue is there would be a buyout. I think his buyout would be like $4.3 million. That's not. I don't think that's like a huge deal. But also know that if Coach Banks is fired, then that would probably mean that the rest of the staff on defense will also have to go. Because if you're going out to get a new defensive coordinator, he's going to want all of his people. Now, I've said that Coach ET, who coaches Tennessee's corners right now, he's coached our corners pretty much since they've been balling. I think he's the best cornerbacks coach in the country. Hold on to him. I don't care what happens. You cannot let him go. He might need to get, you don't even see him up here, right? He might need to get like some sort of a bump in his title and in his pay. I'd say probably like a major one because he's that dude. Like I said, same thing. Coach Inge, people don't love. I mean, I don't love the way that he rotated backers, but he also hasn't been really like he's been starting guys that he didn't go out and get from high school. Those aren't his guys. His guys are just now coming of age. And I'll just be honest, I think that his guys, by and large, look better than the other ones, right? So that just kind of like is what it is. I think that he's going to be fine. He has a great track record. We already know about Rodney Garner. Okay, so outside of that, man, like I said, I mean, it's not that I don't like these coaches or any of that, but I just think it won't be that big of a deal if we go get somebody else. So I think that's part of the reason that we haven't seen a firing of Coach Banks or of anyone else just yet. Is because we're waiting to see, well, what's all the implications? Because if we lose like a Coach Garner, even Coach Inge, some of those other guys, you're going to probably lose some players. You could lose players from this 2026 class, and yeah, they signed. I've tried to tell people, man, that really, it's not as binding as you might think. There's ways to get out of everything. So yeah, players could leave from that standpoint. Players that are currently on this roster that we feel like, hey, these are dudes, they could also leave. So it's not just as cut and dry. It's not just as simple as going out and firing your one of your coordinators. Now I think offense is going to be different just because it's Coach Heupel's offense. Coach Halsley, he's been with Hype the whole time. But I think that you can go find somebody else, and that's not going to be as big of a difference. All right, offense is totally different to me. But defense, a lot of times, defense is almost like a standalone sort of a deal, especially whenever your coach is an offensive-minded coach. I know the Coach Heupel says, well, I'm the head coach of the whole team, which, yeah, of course he is. But he really is an offensive-minded guy. Like we've heard him say, well, I missed this play when our defense was out there because I'm focusing on trying to help the offense get right. Things like that. So the offense, you could mix and match with those coaches, and I think that we'll be fine. That's just how I look at it. But defense, you could end up losing some stuff. So I'm not saying that we have to hold on to Coach Banks, but just be careful. And I think that's why it's taking longer than what we might have thought. But if we are going to make any changes, that has to come pretty quickly. I think that you probably want to get those guys in place because we have a bowl game coming up. Like the bowl prep should start probably next week because we're going to know who we're playing tomorrow. So bowl prep will probably start at some point next week, I think. So yeah, I mean, you want to go ahead and cut the ties if you feel like that's what you need to do. But I don't necessarily know if it's a 100% guarantee that everything's just going to be great, But I do think that maybe we can feel confident in the fact that it seems like to me that Coach Heupel is being, I think he's just being thoughtful. I don't think he's just going to rush because all the fans is such a panic almost about, oh my gosh, we got to get rid of Coach Banks and all these other coaches, they're taking up all the good defensive coordinators and all the good defensive coaches. Man, look, there's still some out there. I don't think that any of the guys that I would personally want that I know for sure, hey, this is a no questions asked upgrade. Those guys are still out there. You know what I mean? So as long as, and them still being out there, it leads me to think that maybe that's who we're targeting. Maybe we're targeting some of the real big dogs. And I think that's what we have to do if we are going to make that move. Okay, let me see, because it looks like I got some chats coming in. Let me get to this one right here. Sorry that I can't see your name, man. This is very, very small, but thank you for being a member, saying that ET needs to be upgraded to like an overall secondary coach. Yeah, I would like to see it. I would personally like to see that because I think that he's the best teacher of playing in the secondary. Coach Nez is coaching safeties. All right, so that's mostly, he is the safeties coach at this point. Coach ET is coaching the corners, and I think that Coach Nez also works with the star players. And maybe Coach Allen Williams works with the stars too some, but obviously we see how well the cornerbacks have been playing. Yeah, just upgrade him to the overall secondary coach. And if you feel like you want to hold on to Coach Nez, then okay, you can hold on to him. But I mean, he don't need to be coaching. Like he needs to be doing something else. Like be there as like a veteran, like vocal leader or something like that. But I don't think that he's that great of an on the field coach. That's just me personally. All right, and that's just the way that I see it. But you can see that Coach Nez, his contract isn't over with until next season. So would you want to, if you cut ties there, that's a buyout of some sort of money. I think it's kind of like a waste of money, but I mean, it just kind of like is what it is. So let me see what else we got in here, man. I'm going to see, do we have any more from our members? All right, so this one right here from Dylan saying that Mark Stoops is out there. Yeah, and I've been pretty vocal in saying that I'm not a big fan of the Stoops system on defense. I think that when people look at the holes and they think about the holes in Tennessee's current defense, I'm gonna tell you there are holes, but it's not because the defensive calls are like they are fundamentally sound. See what I'm saying? Like the calls, I can look at what he's doing. I can look at what Coach Banks is calling, and I can say, okay, I get why you did it. With the Stoops defenses, they do some stuff that I'm like, bro, like this is not seventh grade football. You can't just run man coverage all the time and think that it's going to be okay, because there will be gigantic holes inside of your defense. You're going to have great days and then you're going to have absolutely horrible days. I think worse than what we've seen. I know people say there's no way that it can get worse. I promise you, it can get worse. It can get a whole lot worse. So I'm out. Excuse me, I'm out on those Stoops. Totally out. That would not be a move that I would want to make, and I don't even think the coach Hyper likes that family. I don't want to speak for him, but just from what I've heard, I don't think there's still some bad blood there, probably. Okay, so this next one from Ben Sherman's going on, bro. Saying he thinks that we'll keep Coach Banks. His track record of defense, safeties coach is a question. I'm not quite sure what the next thing. Oh, okay, strength. And okay, yeah, the strength coach needs to go. We were soft on both sides of the ball. Yeah, so like I said, Coach Banks didn't coach our safeties this year, right? I don't know that he coached them last year either. I think that it's been coached and Ned's coaching them for like the past couple of seasons. Now, there were some times when they weren't good when he was coaching them, but he's also sent some safeties to the league. You know, I mean, he sent several, like even Tank. Like Tank is still playing in the NFL, and Coach Banks did coach him. I think that he's a much better coach than people give him credit for. I'm not saying he's like this great coach that we can't cut ties with. That's not what I'm saying, so don't take it that way. But I do think that that there's been like some of the stuff is just kind of pushed, and people just keep on saying the same thing. You know, just kind of because that's how people feel, I guess, you know, whatever. But I think that Coach Nez is one of the real issues with our secondary, in all honesty, because his teaching, I don't think, just from some of the things that I've seen with the technique, with the groups that he's coaching, it's just not good. I'll say it that way. I don't think that it's great. All right, so Ben is saying that Garner, Inge, Chop, and Nez need to keep them, but they need to step up. Okay, so you want to hold on to Coach Nez. I'm also say, you know, there's some coaches, man, that might have to go. There's some coaches there's some other names that I didn't throw out there, but the members and Ben, you're a member, man. You need to tap into some of the videos that we put out there. Members know that there are people on this staff that probably need to go. All right. We haven't really talked about them, but I think that it might be in Tennessee's overall best interest if that happens. Okay, so let me get this last one right here from Ben Sherman saying that the transfer portal is key to what happens next year. They need a bigger, stronger personnel. Yeah, I'm gonna say, I mean, 100%. Like we have to do well inside the portal, but I also think that there's several coaching changes. There's several, and maybe not even full on fire a guy, go get another guy, whatever sort of a change, but definitely a change from the standpoint in mentality, in some like scheme things. But yeah, I mean, like we got to really upgrade the roster on defense, especially, man. We play so many young guys who obviously they're going to be better as they get older, right? But then we didn't have enough veteran depth either. Some of the moves that we made in the transfer portal, whether it's letting people go or some of the pieces that we've added on defense, weren't great. Some of them were. Some of them paid off great. I mean, shouts out to Coach ET, because like those corners, I mean, he got Mod, he got Hood. There were transfers. They're first rounders now. Coach ET coached both of those guys. I need I say more? You got a true freshman starting the corner. It started off maybe a little bit rocky. I think that because, like, of course, us playing corner, we know what we're looking at. There were times when I think we're being overly critical of Ty, but he's been good and he's only gotten better. You know, that's Coach ET. As a true freshman playing on this level, that is very hard to do. But yeah, if we could just like let him coach more of the secondary is going to be fine. You know, and obviously you got to go add some talent, I think, especially at safety, but then at star. Who's the star? All right, so I'm going to get to this last one right here. When it was talked about that Tim Banks made scheme adjustments in the offseason, unsure how much of a factor that played in this year's performance. I don't remember. I don't think that we really talked about necessarily like some big scheme changes for Coach Banks. Now, for the offense, we made some gigantic changes for sure. But for Coach Banks, no real scheme change. The only thing that P and I would talk about is that the defensive tackles, we didn't have those big guys. Like we didn't have 2 or 3 of the big guys like we had last season. They're like 340 plus. We didn't have those guys. So we said, okay, well, maybe we're trying to just get more speed up front. We never really fully understood it, but we felt like maybe it could work. Coach Banks wants to run more man-to-man coverage. We could have done that if it wasn't for obviously our 2 star cornerbacks being out and then having 2 unprovens at corner. We tried that early on, and then we saw what Georgia did as far as the numbers that they put up. That was in man coverage. That was in bump and run at the line of scrimmage coverage. That was everything that people are always talking about, man. We want for Coach Banks. Man, don't play so far off. Play up at the line of scrimmage. Bring the pressure, which he's done. He's brought more pressure this season than he did last year, but it doesn't feel that way. Why? Because the cornerbacks after the Georgia game, right, maybe like a couple of games after that, we started playing more off so that we could keep things in front of us and not giving up those touchdowns. So I think that those are the changes that he made in season. But what he wants to do is what everyone is talking about. All right, so I keep on saying last one, but as long as the members keep on talking, I'm gonna have to keep on getting y'all. I'm gonna try to let Ben's last comment be the last one, so I can skate. But we can come back maybe like after the game. Obviously, Tennessee's basketball team plays tonight, so we could talk some more. All right, so Jeff is saying would like to see them demote Halsley to quarterback coach and make Chaney and Latrell co-coordinators. The one thing about Coach Seth is everywhere that he's been an offensive coordinator, right, their offenses have been bad. I don't think he's ever had a good offense. Not as a coordinator. I think he's better suited to be like an analyst and come in and just like give some extra thoughts. Coach Chaney, I've liked some of the things that he's done. So maybe there, I would personally like to see Coach Heupel go outside of the people that he knows and bring in an offensive coordinator, because I think that they need a little bit of a different flavor in rhythm with our play calling, because people know what we're doing way too often. And it might be getting to a point where there's just too many voices inside of that room. Not that the offense was like bad or nothing this season, but it could definitely be better than what it was. Here's what I'm saying. It might be able to compare from last year to this year. Okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Is I know that I got to that kind of late, bro. So I'm not sure, but I'm positive that was probably a very good point that you're making. All right, so Ben is saying that the defense needs to be 3 deep to be effective with Banks' system. We did not have the dogs this year. Yeah, I don't even know if I could put quantify exactly how deep we have to be. But what we do have to have up front, and this is more of a Coach Garner, not so much of a Coach Banks thing. Coach Garner rotates defensive linemen a lot, so you need to be very deep there. Very deep there. And I think that this was a year that maybe we slowed down with the rotation up front some. But I think we maybe could have done it even more. You know what I'm saying? Is because it's beneficial that we had some guys that were young that got to play and all that. Oh, wait, I got some super chats coming out. I had to get to that. But yeah, I think that it's mostly with the defensive line. We weren't even too deep at cornerback. We really weren't even too deep we weren't too deep in the secondary pretty much anywhere. Linebackers are very deep. And we could have played some of those young players more. But it's really just about having more guys up front. We need secondary bodies. All right. And if we can do that, I think Tennessee's defense is going to take a big step forward regardless. So we could hold on to Coach Banks and it's going to get way better, or we could let him go and it'll probably maybe still get better if we can hold on to those guys, as long as whoever we bring in is a fundamentally sound coach. And there's no guarantees that they all will be. All right, so thank you right here for the super chat from General Vol, saying if we fire Banks, we need to go for Jim Knowles or Will Muschamp. I would not go for Will Muschamp, because I'll be damned if we go get another coach that's a Georgia guy or any of that, Alabama guy, whatever. Don't go get those guys. People just don't understand how much Georgia hates Tennessee. They don't understand that. That is a deep-rooted, never going to change inside of their heart hatred. They hate Tennessee. I would never, for any reason, under any circumstances, hire a coach from the University of Georgia. But I do feel your point. Let me go ahead and play this clip. Thank you so much. And back to Jim Knowles. I would most definitely take Jim Knowles. That's one of the names that I was talking about, just as far as a coach that's proven and that can get it done, I think, from like day one. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, probably like a guaranteed upgrade. But anyway, y'all, that's going to have to do it, because I'm about to jump in here and check out this SEC championship game. But like I said, we could come back and we could chalk it up some more and do like a pregame maybe for the basketball game that's coming up tonight. I have a lot of thoughts there. You know, we definitely need to see something tonight from that basketball team. But as always, y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be talking to y'all maybe shortly, maybe like later on tonight. All right, thanks, peace.